Chosen one, pause where you are and pay attention. This is not random. This is not noise drifting through your screen. Heaven has pressed pause on everything around you so that your spirit can catch the sound of this message. You are standing at the doorway of time itself. And these days, in the 11th of September, Sept and 13 carry a prophetic weight that you cannot afford to miss. Some days pass quietly, but other days burn themselves into history, shifting destinies. These 3 days are that kind of threshold. Not everyone will recognize it, but you have been set apart to see. This is your invitation. This is your warning. Think of the seasons you've walked through, the nights of silence where your prayers seemed unanswered, the long waiting when others advanced while you remained at a standstill, the hidden tears that no one knew you carried. Those were not wasted moments. They were preparation, like a seed buried under the soil. You looked dormant, even forgotten, but under the surface, life was gathering strength. And now the season has changed. The ground is ready to break. There was once a chosen one who lived this reality. For years, nothing shifted. Every effort failed. Even family and friends gave up hope on him. Yet he stayed faithful in the shadows. And suddenly, in a time no one expected, a door swung open that could not be shut. The delay broke in a single day, and his story turned into a testimony that inspired many. That same grace hovers over you now. You are closer than you think. Imagine yourself as a kite in the hands of the wind, with gentle breezes. You hover low. But when strong winds roar, you soar higher. Do not fear the winds of resistance. They are not meant to crush you, but to lift you. The storms you face in these September days are the very currents that will carry you to the heights you were destined for. And this is what the ancient prophet declared in the book of Nahum, chapter 1, verse 9. Whatever they plot against the Lord, he will bring to an end. Trouble will not come a second time. The cycles that once held you bound are breaking. The battles you thought would never end are being cut short. These 3 days are not only about endurance, they are about closure and new beginnings. Chosen one, don't treat this lightly. This is not about superstition. It is about agreement with heaven. I invite you to mark your response in faith. Comment the number 111 below. Let it be your declaration. I choose alignment. I choose obedience. I will not miss what belongs to me. Heaven records what you do in moments like this. And before moving further, I encourage you, like this message so it doesn't get buried by the noise. Share it so someone else doesn't miss their window. And subscribe so you remain aligned with future prophetic directions. These are not just words, they are signals guiding you to destiny. The stage is set. Time has paused. The prophetic days are approaching. And you, yes, you are being summoned to step forward. Do not miss your moment. The heavens are leaning close, watching how you respond. Do not underestimate this moment. Every step of faith you take is counted. Every act of obedience is recorded. September's days are approaching like a rising tide. Step into them prepared, awake, and unshaken. You have already felt the stirring. The 11th of September, Sept, and 13 are not ordinary days. They are marked. These days stand like watchtowers on the calendar, rising above the rest of the year. For most people, they will pass unnoticed. Another week, another routine, But for the chosen ones, these days act as dividing lines between who drifts and who steps into divine alignment. Think about how seasons work. Winter turns into spring, not because of one flower, but because the atmosphere shifts and the earth responds to the pull of the sun. In the same way, these 3 days are atmospheric shifts in the spirit. They carry weight that changes direction, setting apart those who perceive. Consider Joshua and the Israelites at Jericho. It was not random marching that brought walls down. It was obedience in a precise window of time. Had they marched outside the appointed days, nothing would have shifted. Timing mattered. Obedience mattered. And in the same way, the 11th of September through 13 are not just symbolic, they are days of alignment, where obedience unlocks what seemed impossible. You may feel the world has grown darker, and it has. Deception spreads easily. People are distracted by noise, lulled to sleep by comfort. Yet, in the middle of this, your eyes are opening. That is not because you are better, it is because you are marked. The veil is thinner for those who are chosen. And these days highlight that difference. Imagine standing at a crossroads in a dense forest. Most people walk forward, following the path worn by countless footsteps. But suddenly, light pierces through the trees, illuminating a narrow, hidden trail. Few notice it, but those who do understand it is not coincidence. The 11th of September, Shar, and 13 are like that beam of light, a signal guiding you to a path not visible to the masses. This is why many will miss it. Their eyes are clouded, their ears deafened by the clamor of the world. But you, chosen one, are being awakened. What seemed like delay was actually preparation to sharpen your discernment so that when this season arrived, you would recognize it. The enemy does not fight what does not matter. If these days carry breakthrough, expect resistance, not obvious. But, subtle distraction, fatigue, discouragement. Pay attention. This is not random opposition, it is targeted BTs. Darkness trembles when you draw near to destiny. Think of a blacksmith forging a blade. The fire is hottest right before the weapon is ready. The hammer strikes hardest when the shape is nearly complete. In the same way, the intensity you feel is not proof of abandonment, but proof of nearness. And this is what the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 10 declares. Many will be purified, made spotless and refined, but the wicked will continue to be wicked. The wise will understand. This is exactly what these days represent, a refining fire. The blind will stay blind, but the wise will see. Those who mock will keep mocking, but the chosen ones will discern and step into alignment. So let your heart stay steady. Others will walk through these days as though nothing has changed. But you will not. You will see the signs, feel the shift, and step forward with clarity while many remain in confusion. The line has been drawn, the days are marked, and you are among the few who perceive what they mean. Chosen one. Your life has been moving toward this moment like a clock ticking toward a final chime. Every setback, every delay, every tear you shed in silence was not wasted. It was part of a countdown. The appointed days are not arriving to surprise you. They are arriving to reveal why you had to endure everything you did. Think of a runner on a long track. At the halfway point, exhaustion sets in. Legs feel heavy. Lungs burn. And doubt creeps in. Yet the crowd is not cheering for the halfway point. They are waiting for the finish. The hardest part of the run is often right before the final stretch. In the same way, your hardest nights, your deepest struggles, were not the end. They were the middle. The finish line is now in sight. And the September days are the moment you break through. It is tempting to think that the pain you experienced was punishment. But no, it was preparation. A seed never flourishes without the crushing of soil pressing against it. Gold never shines without the fire removing its impurities. And you, chosen one, would never have been ready to carry the mantle you are about to receive without being pressed, refined, and tested. I remember a chosen one who waited years for a promise. He was overlooked, underestimated, and dismissed by many who thought they knew his worth. He prayed faithfully, even when the heavens seemed silent. And then one day, without warning, the answer arrived. What had been delayed for so long came suddenly, like rain falling on a parched desert. His story is not just history, it is a mirror of what God is preparing in you. The world has tried to convince you that your delays were denials, but heaven says otherwise. The countdown was never to deny you, it was to align you. If the promise had come too early, it would have crushed you. If the door had opened before you were ready, the weight of it would have broken you. But now, after the waiting, you stand strong enough to carry what's about to unfold. This is why the scripture recorded in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3 carries such power for you right now. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. End of for chosen one. Your countdown is ending. The days of lingering are closing, and the appointed time is breaking open. You may have thought you were forgotten, but heaven has been counting down with you. Every second of waiting has been recorded, and every tear has been stored. Now I invite you into a prophetic act. Write in the comments, "Keep me ready." These 3 words are not just a phrase, they are a prayer, a declaration, and a surrender. They mean, Lord, do not let me fall asleep. Do not let me miss the door you are opening. Keep my spirit awake. Sharpen my eyes. Steady my heart. Heaven listens to such cries, and those who remain ready are those who will not miss the appointed moment. Think of a soldier on night watch. The camp may be asleep, but his eyes scan the horizon. His readiness is the difference between protection and disaster. By declaring, "Keep me ready," you take your stand as a watchman of your own destiny. You refuse to slumber. You refuse distraction. You remain awake until the trumpet sounds. Your countdown is almost finished. Your night is almost over. The September days will not just mark time, they will mark destiny. Stand firm. Hold fast. And keep your declaration alive. Keep me ready. Why do so many fail to see what is right in front of them? Why do the prophetic days pass by unnoticed, as if they were no different from the rest? The answer lies not in the heavens, but in the condition of human hearts. Light has been shining, but not all eyes are able to perceive it. There is a veil that covers those who choose comfort over calling. They prefer shallow waters where nothing challenges them. They silence the whispers that disturb their sleep and drown out the warnings that echo within. The days of September are not hidden, but they are concealed from those who refuse to wake up. Think of a person walking through a field at night. A lantern is in their hand, yet they forget to light it. The stars above are clear, but their eyes remain fixed on the dirt beneath their feet. They stumble, not because there is no light, but because they refuse to lift their gaze. That is what happens to those who miss appointed times. The light is present, but they refuse to look. You, however, have been set apart. Your journey has sharpened your vision. Pain has trained you to notice what others overlook. Every disappointment, every unanswered question has worked like sandpaper, stripping away illusions and forcing you to see deeper. That is why your spirit stirs when others remain unmoved. There was once a chosen one who carried this gift of vision. As a child, he would speak of dreams that unsettled those around him. His family dismissed him, calling him foolish. They sold him out, believing they had silenced his voice forever. Yet the very dreams he carried became the key that unlocked not only his destiny, but the survival of many nations. That chosen one was Joseph, and his story reminds us, vision often makes you a target before it makes you a deliverer. This is what sets you apart. Others may laugh, doubt, or ignore, but you are not meant to be blind. September's days are not just marked by numbers on a calendar, they are marked by heaven's fingerprints. To miss them is to walk past a door already standing open. To recognize them is to step into alignment that cannot be explained by human reasoning. And this is what Paul wrote in his first letter to the Corinthians. Chapter 2, verse 14. The person without the Spirit does not accept the things that come from the Spirit of God, but considers them foolishness, and cannot understand them because they are discerned only through the Spirit. Consider how Jesus often spoke in parables. The crowds heard the same words, but only a few grasped the meaning. Revelation has always been selective. It is not hidden from everyone, but it is hidden for those who are willing to dig deeper. The prophetic days of September follow this same pattern. To some, they will sound ordinary. To others, they will pulse like thunder in the Spirit. Chosen one, do not be surprised when people around you cannot see what you see. Do not grow weary when your conviction is misunderstood. Revelation has always separated. Light has always exposed, and vision has always demanded courage. These days are sharpening that courage in you. Lift your eyes. Notice the signs. Recognize that you have been given what others lack the ability to see beyond the surface. To read what heaven is writing into time itself. That is why you are here. That is why you are awake. And that is why you will not miss what these days truly mean. There is a reason urgency clings to these days. The 11th of September. 10, and 13 are not accidents of a calendar. They are markers of destiny. To ignore them is to walk past a treasure chest lying open, mistaking gold for dust. And yet, so many will choose the dust because their eyes are fixed on the ground instead of the heavens. But you, chosen one, are different. Your path has been paved with tears that watered the soil of faith. You have carried burdens that felt too heavy, yet you still moved forward. Each step carved into your soul a resilience the world cannot understand. These very steps have led you here, to the edge of a divine threshold. Think of an artist painting in the night. No one sees the strokes. No one notices the colors layered carefully, hidden in the shadows. Yet when the dawn arrives, the masterpiece is revealed. That is your story. Heaven has been painting your life in silence. And now the unveiling draws near. Obedience in this season is not about rule-keeping, it is about alignment. To walk through these days without surrender is like carrying a map but refusing to read it. The path exists, but the traveler remains lost. Heaven is offering you more than direction. It is offering companionship, power, and purpose. And this truth echoes through the words of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 21, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." And you are not abandoned to guesswork. You are not stumbling blindly. A voice is guiding you. That whisper is what has brought you here, and that same whisper will carry you through the appointed days. Now, let me speak plainly. When you feel this word strike your heart, it is because you were meant to hear it. And when something awakens in your spirit, there is also a choice to respond. But hear this carefully, your response is not about obligation, it is about beauty. Think of it this way: when you find a song that touches your soul, you share it with a friend. When you witness a sunrise too magnificent to keep to yourself, you call someone to look. That is the nature of truth and beauty. It longs to be shared. So, if this message resonates, let your response be as natural as breathing. Press like, not because you must, but because it is your amen to what has stirred inside. Share it not as a task, but as an act of love, like passing a torch to another traveler still walking in the dark. Subscribe not as a duty, but as a decision to remain near the well where living water flows, so you never thirst without knowing where to drink again. Nothing here is demanded. Everything here is invitation. A song can be ignored. A sunrise can be overlooked. A torch can be refused. But if you choose to carry it, it becomes part of your journey, and perhaps part of someone else's salvation. The urgency is real, but the choice remains yours. September's days are approaching. The voice is speaking, and the masterpiece of your life is ready to be unveiled. And when the unveiling comes, it will not only reveal who you are, but also why you were preserved. Every brushstroke of hidden seasons will suddenly make sense, and your life will shine as heaven's living canvas of glory. Chosen one. There is something about numbers that heaven often uses as signs, not because numbers themselves hold power, but because they become markers, reminders of alignment between the eternal and the earthly. The days of the 11th of September, Shirah, and 13 are themselves numbers etched into time, carrying a message for those who have ears to hear. Throughout Scripture, God repeatedly used numbers to emphasize his design. 7 echoed completion, 40 marked testing, 12 represented government and order. When you see these numbers, you are not just looking at mathematics, you are looking at a divine language written into creation itself. And these prophetic days are whispering that language again. Think of Jacob lying under the night sky, stones gathered as a pillow. In his dream, he saw a ladder stretching between earth and heaven, angels ascending and descending. When he awoke, he set up the stone as a marker and poured oil on it, declaring the place as none other than the house of God. The vision was spiritual, but the act of setting a marker was physical. Numbers and actions like this become reminders for future generations. You have come through a season where nothing seemed to add up. Losses outweighed gains. Silence outweighed answers. And questions outweighed clarity. But heaven was still keeping count. Not a tear went unrecorded. Not a prayer went unnoticed. These days are the sign that what felt scattered is about to align. Picture a clock whose hands appear stuck. For hours, the time seems frozen, unmoving. Then suddenly, the gears shift and the hands spring forward, catching up with all that was delayed. That is what the appointed numbers in these days represent. Time that seemed wasted will suddenly make sense, catching up in divine acceleration. This is what the prophet Haggai spoke of when he recorded the voice of God. The glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former house, declares the Lord Almighty, and in this place I will grant peace. Chosen one, your latter days are about to outweigh your former. The glory ahead will eclipse the sorrow behind. And these September markers are not to be missed, because they are the moment heaven tips the scale. Now I invite you into an act of faith, not to chase superstition, but to place a marker. Comment the number 222 below. Why 222? Because it represents divine agreement, 2 or 3 witnesses, and repeated 3 times, it amplifies heaven's confirmation. By writing it, you declare, Lord, I step into covenant. I agree with your word over my life. Onua. Think of 2 people shaking hands to seal a promise. Alone. One voice is fragile, but in agreement, their voices echo louder. By declaring 222, you are joining your voice with heaven's, affirming that you will not walk in your own wisdom, but in alignment with divine instruction. This is not ritual, it is remembrance. Just as Jacob poured oil on a stone, just as Israel built altars after victories, you set a marker in your life with this declaration. It will remind you that you did not miss these days. You did not walk blindly. You chose to stand firm when it mattered most. The numbers themselves are not your salvation. The God who assigns meaning to them is, and He is calling you to step into the alignment these September days carry. Unshaken, unmoved, established in Him. There is a truth you must hold tightly. Before crowns come shakings. The journey of the chosen is never paved with ease. Instead, it is marked by tremors that shake loose, everything built on sand. These shakings are not punishments, they are purifications. They test the foundation, strip away what cannot endure, and leave only what is unshakable. Think of the ground before an earthquake. At first, everything looks steady. Houses stand. Walls seem strong. And lives carry on as though nothing could disturb them. But when the earth begins to tremble, only structures anchored to solid foundations remain. Everything else cracks and collapses. The same principle applies to your soul. When heaven shakes, only the parts anchored in God will remain. Chosen one. You have already experienced this. Friendships you thought were forever have crumbled. Plans you trusted have fallen apart. Even pieces of your own identity, the versions of yourself you once held tightly, have been stripped away. And yet, though you lost what was fragile, you did not lose yourself. The core of who you are, the part anchored in eternal truth, remains unshaken. There was a chosen one who walked through such a season. His name was Job. In a single moment, he lost possessions, family, and health. Everything that could be shaken was shaken. His friends accused him. His wife urged him to give up, and his body was racked with pain. Yet his words became the testimony of resilience. Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him. Job's story is not about loss. It is about what survives the shaking. And here is what the letter to the Hebrews declares. Chapter 12, verse 27. The words "once more" indicate the removing of what can be shaken, that is, created things, so that what cannot be shaken may remain. This is the essence of your season. The shaking is not to destroy you, but to reveal what in you is eternal. Pride can be shaken. Fear can be shaken. Shallow commitments can be shaken. But faith, trust, and obedience, these cannot be moved. Imagine a sculptor standing over a block of marble. With each strike of the chisel, pieces fall away. Dust scatters. Fragments break. From the outside, it looks like destruction. Yet in the mind of the sculptor, a masterpiece is being uncovered. The shaking in your life is heaven's chisel. The fragments falling from you are not your identity. They are the excess that was never meant to define you. Sometimes you wonder why others seem untouched while you are pressed on every side. But look closer. Fruit trees are shaken when the harvest is ready. The branches that bear nothing are left alone, but those heavy with fruit are shaken, so that what is ripe can be gathered. Your shaking is evidence that you are carrying something heaven intends to release. Chosen one. Do not misinterpret the storm. What you feel now is not abandonment, it is refinement. The tremors around you are not meant to bury you, but to strip away what cannot walk into your future. Every crown worth wearing comes after a shaking worth enduring. So steady yourself. Let what falls fall. Let what remains remain. You are not losing, you are being prepared. And when the trembling ends, the crown will rest upon your head, not because you escaped the shaking, but because you endured it. One of the greatest challenges for the chosen is discerning the true voice of heaven amid the noise of many counterfeits. These days, messages echo from every corner. Promises are offered cheaply. Predictions are spoken loudly. And words dressed as prophecy scatter across the world like leaves in the wind. But not every voice comes from the Spirit of God. And in seasons as critical as September's appointed days, the danger of deception grows sharper. From the very beginning, deception has always mimicked truth. In the garden, the serpent did not introduce an obvious lie. It twisted God's own words. Falsehood is most dangerous when it wears the clothing of familiarity, and so the enemy's strategy remains the same. Counterfeit the authentic until the chosen cannot tell the difference. Chosen one. This is why your discernment must rise. Not every voice deserves your ear. Not every message deserves your trust. A counterfeit diamond sparkles like the real, but only under pressure can you tell which endures. In the same way, true words from heaven withstand testing, while false words crumble under time and fire. There was a prophet in the days of Israel who spoke what the people wanted to hear. His promises were smooth, his words pleasing, and the crowds loved him. Yet his declarations proved empty, and his name faded into obscurity. Alongside him stood another prophet, unpopular, often rejected, but faithful to deliver the word of the Lord exactly as it was given. His words endured, recorded for generations. History reveals the truth. Popularity does not equal authenticity. The writings of the Apostle John carry this warning. Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. This is the test you face now. Do not accept every voice that claims authority. Measure the fruit. Does the message draw you into humility, obedience, and surrender? Or does it appeal only to your comfort and pride? The true voice of God will always call you higher, always anchor you deeper, always align you closer to His word. Imagine standing in a crowded marketplace. Merchants call out, each promising the best goods. The noise blends together, overwhelming the ear. But then, from the edge of the crowd, you hear a familiar voice, the voice of someone who knows you by name. That is what the Spirit of God sounds like amid the chaos. His voice carries recognition. It pierces through noise because it was the first voice to ever call you into being. Chosen one. You must train yourself to lean into that sound. Many will speak in September, but not all will speak from the throne. Only the Spirit bears witness with your spirit. Only His words plant peace instead of confusion, clarity instead of chaos. Do not be swayed by volume. Do not be fooled by charisma. A counterfeit voice can dazzle for a moment, but the truth endures beyond the applause. What comes from God will not fade with time. It will take root, grow, and bear fruit. This is why your silence matters as much as your listening. When you pull away from noise and enter the secret place, the counterfeit loses its grip. In the stillness, you learn again the cadence of the shepherd's call. And in that cadence, you find safety. The days ahead will expose many voices, but they will also confirm yours. You will know, not by human reasoning, but by divine recognition. And when you know, you must stand boldly, even if others remain fooled. For the chosen are not called to echo the crowd. They are called to carry the voice of heaven without compromise. Mercy has a sound, and you have been hearing it. For years, mercy has followed you like a shadow covering mistakes, shielding you from consequences, giving you another chance when you thought it was the last. But chosen one, hear this clearly. Mercy is not endless delay. There comes a moment when heaven says, now it is time. September 11, Shara, and 13 carry such a moment. Think about the door of Noah's Ark. It stayed open while the sky remained clear. People walked past, mocking the very idea of rain. They lived in the comfort of delay. But the day came when God Himself shut the door, and no amount of knocking could open it again. Mercy herlingal. But mercy had also ended. This is the tension of your season. Mercy has shielded you, but mercy is now calling you to act. To linger longer in hesitation is to risk missing the door that stands open only for a short time. There was a chosen one who felt this urgency. He sensed a window opening, but he delayed, convincing himself he had more time. Days passed. The window closed, and the opportunity was gone. For years he lived with the echo of regret, not because he was unworthy, but because he was unready. That story remains a warning for you. Opportunity does not wait forever. And this is what the letter to the Hebrews reveals in chapter 10, verse 26. If we deliberately keep on sinning after receiving the truth, no sacrifice for sins is left. Sobering words, but necessary ones. They are a reminder that you cannot drift forever and expect the door to remain open. Grace invites, but grace also expects response. Mercy covers, but mercy also calls. Imagine standing at a cliff's edge. Behind you is the path you know, familiar but empty. In front of you is a bridge, stretched thin but strong, leading to a new land. The wind howls, fear whispers, and hesitation tempts, but the bridge will not wait forever. To cross is to trust. To stay is to forfeit. This is why your voice matters right now. I want you to write in the comments, "I step in." 3 words, but they carry the weight of decision. They declare, "I will not delay. I will not wander at the edge. I step into obedience. I step into destiny. I step into what God is opening for me." This is not about a phrase on a screen. It is about aligning your heart with action. Heaven listens for declarations that are matched with obedience. And when you say, "I step in," you are choosing courage over fear, readiness over hesitation, action over passivity. Chosen one. Do not ignore the sound of mercy knocking. Do not let this window pass you by. The days ahead are marked, and the door is open, but it will not stay open forever. Let your decision be clear. Let your declaration be strong, and let heaven record it. You stepped in when it mattered most. And understand this. Stepping in is not just a word, it is a way of life. It means leaving behind the cycles that drained you, refusing to walk in circles of compromise, and choosing instead to walk forward, even when the path feels uncertain. It is saying yes before you see how it ends, trusting that God's hand will steady your steps. To step in is to declare with your life, not just your lips, that you belong to the appointed future He has prepared. Covenant is never casual. It is not a handshake, quickly forgotten, nor a promise scribbled in fading ink. Covenant is blood. Covenant is fire. Covenant is eternal. The prophetic days of the 11th of September, Shirar, and 13 are not only signs of time, they are moments when heaven leans close, asking, will you live under covenant or outside of it? When God cut covenant with Abraham, He took him outside beneath the night sky and pointed to the countless stars. The promise was not only words, it was a binding oath, sealed in eternity. Abraham's descendants would carry it forever. In the same way, these September days are not just whispers, they are reminders of an eternal oath. Chosen one. Covenant means protection. Think of a roof during a storm. Rain lashes down. Thunder shakes the air. But under the covering you remain safe. Without the roof, the storm overwhelms. Covenant is that covering it does not stop the storm, but it keeps you through it. Covenant also means identity. Imagine a ring exchanged at a wedding. It is a circle of gold, small in size, but weighty in meaning. It tells the world, this one is not alone. This one belongs. This one is chosen. In the same way, covenant marks you as one who belongs to God, never abandoned, never forgotten. And covenant means inheritance. Think of a will written by a father for his children. While strangers may look, only the child can open the document and claim its promises. In the same way, your inheritance is locked inside the covenant. What God has written belongs to you, but only if you choose to stand within His covenant promise. The Apostle Paul wrote with clarity in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 20, "For no matter how many promises God has made, they are yes in Christ. Through Him, the Amen is spoken to God's glory. Every promise has its anchor in Christ. Every yes is secured by His blood. And your amen, your agreement, seals it in your own life. But here is the beauty of response. It is never forced. Covenant must be chosen freely, or it loses its meaning. That is why your choice carries such weight. Think of this message as a letter carried to your door. You can leave it unopened, tossed aside as just paper, or you can open it, read it, and realize it carries your name, written in heaven's ink. To press like is to open the letter and whisper back, "I've read what is written." And think of sharing as lighting a candle from your flame and passing it into someone else's dark room. You are not losing your light, you are multiplying it. Another soul may find their path because you were willing to pass on what illuminated yours. And to subscribe, see it as planting roots near a flowing stream. A tree can survive for a while on scattered rain, but to flourish, it must remain near living water. To subscribe is not duty. It is choosing to stay rooted where streams of revelation flow, so your spirit never dries out again. None of these actions are demanded. They are invitations. Like doors, left ayar. Like paths opening in a forest. Like hands extended in covenant. You choose if you will walk through. You choose if you will carry light. You choose if you will remain rooted. September's days are not about pressure, they are about promise. Not about obligation, but about covenant. And covenant, once chosen, becomes the song of your life. Echoing into eternity, you are covered. You are marked. You are heir to what heaven has written. Fire has always been the language of refinement. It burns away what is temporary. It exposes what is hidden. And it strengthens what is meant to endure. Your journey into September's prophetic days is not only about promises revealed, it is also about the fire that prepares you to carry them. Chosen one. The refining process is never gentle. It presses. It melts. It strips. But without it, the vessel cannot hold the treasure. Silver without fire remains mixed with impurity, and gold without heat is dull and weak. In the same way, your life without refining would not be able to carry the glory that heaven intends to rest upon you. There was once a man named Moses who encountered fire on the far side of a desert. The flames did not consume the bush, but they consumed him. That moment became his transformation from shepherd to deliverer. Fire turned his wilderness into a holy ground, and the fire in your life has been doing the same, turning ordinary days into sacred preparation. Think of pottery shaped by the hands of the potter. At first, the clay is soft and moldable, but fragile. Only when placed in the kiln does it harden into something durable. Without the kiln, the vessel would collapse under the slightest weight. With the kiln, it becomes capable of carrying water, oil, or wine. Your trials have been that kiln. They were never sent to break you, but to make you strong enough to carry the anointing waiting for you. The Apostle Peter wrote these words to believers facing hardship, and they still burn true today. These trials have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes, even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory, and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed. Notice the phrase, greater worth than gold. That is what heaven sees in you. Every storm you endured, every tear you shed, Every fire you walked through was crafting a faith more precious than the treasures of earth. You may not have felt strong in those moments, but strength was being forged in you. Imagine a blacksmith holding a blade in the fire. He does not pull it out too early, because he knows the metal must reach a certain heat to be unbreakable. In the same way, God has not allowed you to leave the fire prematurely. He knows the exact moment when you are ready, when your character can bear the weight of your calling. This is why your season of shaking and heat should not be feared. It should be seen as proof of worth. The untested are fragile. The refined are unshakable. And you, chosen one, are being counted among the unshakable. Your refining also serves a greater purpose than yourself. Just as pure gold reflects the face of the refiner, your purified life reflects the image of Christ to a watching world. Others see your endurance, your faith, your fire-tested strength, and they find hope for their own journey. Your fire becomes their light. So do not despise the heat. Do not curse the fire. It is not the end of you, it is the making of you. And when you step into these September days, you will discover that the very flames that once threatened to consume you were the same flames that crowned you with glory. 3 days, 3 moments, 3 revelations, the 11th of September, Sure, and 13. Each of them carries a distinct sound in the spirit, like 3 notes forming a chord. Alone, each note has meaning, but together they create a harmony that shifts atmospheres. These are not just days on a calendar, they are divine appointments written before you ever took your first breath. Day 1, the 11th of September, will feel like the breaking of ground. It is the day of exposure, when hidden things come into light, when the soil of your life is turned so that seeds buried in silence can finally breathe. It may feel uncomfortable, but it is the start of life, pushing upward. Day 2, the 12th of September, carries the weight of decision. It is the day of alignment. Choices will confront you, paths diverging, voices calling, options demanding clarity. This is not a day to drift. It is a day to say yes or no, to choose obedience or delay. What you decide here will echo beyond this season. Day 3, the 13th of September, is the day of sealing. What began as exposure and continued as decision will be confirmed. Doors will shut behind you, and new ones will swing wide. It is the day when heaven says, "It is done." This is why these days cannot be treated lightly. They are layered, intentional, holy. Consider the words of the prophet Joel, chapter 2, verse 28. And afterward, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions. These 3 days carry the weight of that promise. Revelation is not confined to the past. It is flowing now. Dreams, visions, clarity. These are the languages God uses to mark appointed times, and He is ready to pour them out, not randomly, but on those who are awake and willing. Imagine standing in a valley at dawn. The first day is like the breaking of light on the horizon, shadows scattering. The second day is like the sun climbing higher, illuminating paths you could not see before. The third day is like the sun at full strength. Shadows gone, direction clear. The valley transformed into a place of vision. This is what the 11th of September, Shirar, and 13 will feel like. If you are aligned, chosen one, your participation matters. Not because God cannot move without you, but because heaven waits for agreement on earth. That is why I invite you into a prophetic act. Comment the number 555 below. Why 555? Because 5 is the number of grace, and repeated 3 times, it represents a flood of grace covering your past, present, and future. By writing it, you declare, Lord, I receive your grace for every layer of these 3 days. Think of it as stretching out your hands to catch the rain. The rain falls regardless, but only those who open their hands feel its coolness. By declaring 555, you are opening your spirit to receive what God is pouring out. Grace to heal what was broken. Grace to choose when decisions weigh heavy. Grace to walk through the door when it opens. September's 3 days are not just dates, they are waters, rising, covering, and cleansing. And when you step into them with faith, you will not drown, you will be carried. Darkness does not rest when prophetic days approach. It trembles, but it also retaliates. Whenever heaven prepares to release light, the enemy rushes to intensify shadows. That is why the air feels heavier as the 11th of September, Sha'ar, and 13 draw near. It is not imagination, it is resistance. From the earliest pages of Scripture, opposition always rises closest to breakthrough. When Israel was on the edge of freedom, Pharaoh tightened his grip. When Jesus entered ministry, the wilderness became his battlefield. When Paul carried the gospel across nations, prisons and chains marked his journey. Darkness never surrenders territory without a fight. Chosen one, you are not experiencing unusual warfare by accident. The pressure you feel, the unexpected discouragements, the sudden waves of fear, they are not random. They are indicators that the enemy sees what is coming. You are standing on ground that matters. And hell always notices when chosen ones step closer to destiny. But take heart, the strength of opposition is not a sign of your weakness. It is proof of your weight in the Spirit. Armies do not gather against empty fields. They gather against land worth conquering. The enemy is not threatened by those who drift. He is threatened by those who align. Imagine standing before a locked gate. On one side is your future. On the other side are the battles of your present. The enemy crowds the gate, trying to intimidate you. But the very fact that the gate exists means there is something beyond it. Opposition is evidence that a gate is near. The prophet Micah spoke words that still pierce the darkness today. Do not gloat over me, my enemy. Though I have fallen, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light. No, that is your cry, not denial of struggle, but défiance against despair. You may stumble, but you will rise. You may sit in darkness, but you are not abandoned to it. The Lord Himself is your light. Consider the story of Daniel in the lion's den. He was not placed there because he was weak, but because he was faithful. The decree was meant to silence his prayer, yet his prayer carried him through the night untouched. The lions roared, but heaven's hand shut their mouths. Likewise, the roar you hear now is not the sound of your end, it is the sound of intimidation failing before the power of God. Think also of Esther standing before the king. Her people faced annihilation, yet her courage turned the tide of history. Darkness plotted, but light prevailed. This is the pattern again and again. When the chosen stand, darkness breaks. You may feel weary, but understand this: every attack you endure is training. Every battle sharpens your discernment, strengthens your resolve, and deepens your trust. The very struggles meant to destroy you are shaping you into a warrior the enemy fears. Chosen one, do not run from the confrontation. Face it, knowing you are not alone. Light does not need to fight darkness with equal force. It only needs to shine, and darkness flees. When you walk into September's days, you carry that light, and no scheme, no plan, no roar of the enemy will extinguish it. You are not the victim of warfare. You are the evidence of victory in motion. Stand, endure, resist. The enemy trembles not because you are perfect, but because you are chosen. And nothing, neither lion's roar nor Pharaoh's chain, can keep you from the future already written for you. Hidden preparation is one of heaven's most profound mysteries. For long stretches of time, it feels as though nothing is happening. The prayers you whisper seem unanswered. The seeds you plant appear buried without fruit, and the silence of waiting feels endless. Yet all the while, something is forming beneath the surface. Think of a seed in the soil. For weeks, there is no visible change. The ground looks the same. The field appears barren. But under the soil, roots stretch deep. Life gathers strength, and transformation is taking place unseen. One day, the surface breaks, and the world finally notices what had been growing all along. That is your story, chosen one. Much of your preparation has been hidden. People have overlooked you, dismissed you, or even mocked you for waiting. But what they could not see was the unseen work of God shaping you for a role they could never imagine. You were not forgotten. You were being forged in silence. Joseph knew this truth intimately. Betrayed by brothers, sold into slavery, locked in prison, he spent years in obscurity. To others, his life looked wasted. But in hidden places, his character was being refined, his wisdom sharpened, his spirit humbled. And in a single day, hidden preparation was unveiled, and he rose from prisoner to governor. The hidden season became the very foundation for his destiny. The psalmist David captured this pattern when he wrote, "He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies." Oh, even darkness can be a sanctuary. Hiddenness is not absence, it is protection. God often conceals his chosen in shadow so that when they emerge, they are ready for the weight of their assignment. Imagine a bow being drawn back. To the untrained eye, it looks like retreat, like movement in the wrong direction. But the further the bow is pulled, the greater the force when the arrow is released. Your hidden years have been that bowstring, the tension, the pull, the backward stretch. It has only been preparing you for the speed and impact of your release. Consider also the butterfly inside its cocoon. To an observer, it looks still, even lifeless. Yet inside, transformation is fierce and unstoppable. Wings are forming where none existed before. Strength is building in silence. When the cocoon finally splits, the butterfly is ready not only to emerge, but to fly. What once looked like confinement becomes proof of transformation. Chosen one, your hidden preparation is not wasted. Every quiet prayer, every unseen act of obedience, every day You remained faithful when no one was watching. They are the currency of destiny. Heaven counts what man overlooks. Heaven remembers what the world forgets. The unveiling will come, and when it does, those who doubted will be astonished. They will say, "Where did this strength come from? How did this wisdom appear?" And the answer will be simple. It was there all along, hidden in the hands of the refiner, kept in the secret place until the appointed time. So do not despise the obscurity. Do not curse the shadows. Hidden preparation is holy. It is heaven's way of building foundations too deep to be shaken, of forging vessels strong enough to carry fire. And soon, what has been hidden will be revealed, and the world will see the masterpiece heaven has been forming in you. When the shaking ends, when the refining completes, when hidden preparation has done its work, then comes the rising. September's appointed days are not simply about enduring the process, they are about stepping into promotion. What you carried in silence will now carry you in public. What you suffered in secret will now shine as testimony. The chosen are not forgotten. They are revealed in the time of unveiling. Promotion in God's kingdom is never a ladder climbed by ambition. It is a mantle laid upon the faithful. The world may crown achievers, but heaven crowns those who endure. And you, chosen one, are entering the season where the crown is placed upon your head, not by men, but by the hand of God himself. Think of David anointed in the presence of his brothers. He was overlooked, dismissed, considered unworthy of even being called in from the field. Yet oil found him. Oil does not flow where pride reigns. It flows where faithfulness has been proven. That is the essence of your rising, the oil of destiny seeking you out in the place of obedience. The Apostle James wrote in his letter, James, chapter 4, verse 10, "Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up." It is humility that unlocks exaltation, and you, who have been bowed low in waiting, are about to be lifted high in purpose. Now, let me speak of your response not as command, but as invitation, like doors standing open to a banquet hall. Imagine holding a lantern. The flame burns brightly, but as you lift it, its light spreads farther. Liking this message is like lifting that lantern. It tells heaven, "I treasure this flame," and it lets others see what once was hidden in shadow. Sharing it is like breaking bread at a long table. When you pass the bread, you do not lose your portion, you multiply the feast. What fed you may feed someone who is starving for hope, someone who might not survive without it. Sharing becomes an act of love, not duty. Subscribing is like planting a vineyard. One sip of water refreshes for a moment, but a vineyard sustains for seasons. To subscribe is to say, "I will remain where the well never runs dry, where the grapes of revelation grow, where my soul can return for nourishment again and again." And what of your words? Let them not be silence. Let your heart find expression. Comment something that rises from within you, a phrase, a cry, a simple line that says, "This word touched me." Think of it as carving your name into a stone by the river. So when waters rise, your testimony remains. Comments are not noise, they are memorials. None of this is required. All of it is beautiful, like walking into a gallery and choosing to linger before a painting that moves you. These actions are simply ways of saying, "I see, I feel, I will not pass by unmoved." Chosen one. This is the hour of rising. The shaking is behind you. The crown is before you. And as you step into it, remember, every act of faith, every gesture of agreement, every flame lifted, every loaf broken, every vineyard planted, these are the signs that you were not just a spectator of prophecy, but a participant in it, chosen one. Promotion is not the end of your journey, but the beginning of greater stewardship. Every crown placed upon your head is a call to serve with deeper love, clear vision, and stronger faith, carrying heaven's flame into the world. There comes a point in every journey when survival is no longer enough. To endure was necessary in the wilderness. But now the call is to rule. The September days are not only markers of endurance, they are thresholds of authority. You are not simply passing through hardship, you are stepping into a mantle of prophetic authority. Chosen one. Authority is not about control, it is about alignment. True authority flows only from submission. The centurion in the Gospels understood this when he said to Jesus, "I too am a man under authority, with soldiers under me." His faith unlocked miracles because he recognized the order of heaven. In the same way, your authority in this season comes not from striving, but from being under the covering of the King. Think of a river. When water runs wild in every direction, it floods, destroys, and loses its strength. But when it is channeled, it becomes a current strong enough to move ships, turn wheels, and carve valleys. Authority works the same way when your spirit is aligned with heaven's order. Your words carry weight. Your presence shifts atmospheres. Your life moves obstacles. Throughout history, chosen ones stepped into authority not when they grasped at it, but when they surrendered to God's timing. Joshua did not seize leadership. He received it after years of serving Moses. Esther did not force her way to the throne. She was positioned by obedience and courage. Authority given by God cannot be stolen, and once it rests on you, no enemy can remove it. The Lord spoke as it is written in the book of Joshua, chapter 3, verse 5. Consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. This verse carries the heart of your season. Authority begins with consecration. To consecrate is to set apart, to cleanse, to yield completely. It is the inward choice that precedes the outward demonstration of power. Before the Jordan parted, before Israel crossed into promise, the people were called to consecrate themselves. Likewise, before you step into the fullness of authority these days, carry. Your consecration marks the turning point. Picture a key forged from iron in your hand. It may seem small, but in the right lock it shifts entire gates. Authority works like that key. It may appear fragile to the world, but in the spiritual realm, it unlocks doors no man can shut, and shuts doors no enemy can open. You carry such a key now. Imagine also the wings of an eagle. At rest, they seem folded and unimpressive, but when spread into the wind, they carry the eagle higher than storms. Authority works the same way. What lies dormant in silence unfolds in the moment of testing, lifting you above battles meant to bury you. Chosen one. Your days of merely surviving are over. These September days mark your commissioning into prophetic authority. You are being entrusted to speak words that shift atmospheres, to carry presence that unsettles darkness, to walk paths that others will follow. Authority is not for pride, it is for stewardship, and heaven is calling you to wield it faithfully. So rise from the dust. Lift your head. Step not only as a survivor, but as a ruler under heaven's mandate. The world may not understand, but the unseen realm already trembles at the weight you carry. So walk forward without hesitation. For authority rests on your shoulders, like a mantle woven by heaven's own hand. What once seemed too heavy to bear will now feel natural, because it was always meant to belong to you. Every journey has a threshold, a final step that carries you from what was into what is. September's prophetic days are such a threshold. You are not circling anymore, you are crossing over. The trembling of the past, the waiting in hiddenness, the heat of refining fire, all of it has brought you here, to the moment of crowning. Chosen one. Crowns in Scripture were never mere ornaments. They represented authority, honor, and victory after endurance. Paul spoke of an imperishable crown, not made of laurel leaves, but woven from eternal glory. Peter described the crown of life for those who remain steadfast under trial. A crown is not given to the untested. It rests only on those who endured the fire and refused to surrender their faith. Imagine a runner collapsing at the finish line, exhausted but victorious. The crown is placed not because the run was easy, but because it was finished. That is the image of your life now. You did not quit. You did not abandon your post. You carried your faith through valleys and storms. And now the crown awaits. There is a deeper truth here. A crown is not just for you. When a king or queen wears one, the people see themselves reflected in it. Your crown is testimony. It speaks to those around you that faith survives, that endurance triumphs, that light outlasts darkness. By wearing it, you become a living prophecy for others, still struggling in the shadows. The Apostle Paul wrote with clarity in his second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8. Paul declared in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8, "Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing." This verse is more than a promise, it is your inheritance. The crown is not just for apostles or prophets of old, it is for all who long for his appearing, all who endure, all who remain faithful. That includes you. Think of a bridge stretching across a wide chasm. For so long, you have stood on one side, looking across at promises unfulfilled. Now, step by step, you are crossing. Behind you lies wilderness. Ahead lies inheritance. A plank beneath your feet represents prayers, trials, and perseverance. And as you reach the other side, the crown is waiting, not as decoration, but as confirmation that you crossed. Or imagine a tree after winter, branches brittle, bark scarred, leaves absent. Many would think it dead. Yet in spring, blossoms burst forth, proof that life never left. That is what your crown represents, life after seasons that tried to bury you. Chosen one, do not downplay what is happening. These days are not ordinary. They are coronation days, sacred thresholds. What heaven has hidden is being revealed. What was pressed down is being lifted up. What was tested by fire is being crowned with glory. So lift your head, You are not bowed in shame, but crowned in honor. You are not wandering anymore, you are established. And as you walk forward, the unseen realm acknowledges what the world is only beginning to recognize. You are crowned at the threshold of destiny, marked as unshakable, unstoppable, and unbreakable. You wear the crown not as a trophy but as a trust, carrying heaven's glory into every battle and every promise ahead. Chosen one. The journey through these 17 sections has not been random. It has been a path of revelation, from the shaking to the refining, from hidden preparation to rising authority, from the threshold to the crown. Every word has been a reminder that you are not ordinary. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out, to shine, to carry the mantle of heaven into the appointed days ahead. But the journey does not end here. These words are not just a conclusion, they are a commissioning. September's prophetic days are drawing near, and you stand prepared, awakened, and sealed. What you choose to carry forward will mark not only your own life, but also the lives of those watching you. Your obedience is bigger than you. It becomes a beacon for others still trapped in shadows. Think of a torch lit in the night. When you like this message, it is as though you are lifting that torch high, signaling to heaven and to others, this light matters. I will not let it go unseen. It's when you share it, you are passing that torch into another's hand, extending fire into places you may never walk yourself. Someone's breakthrough, someone's awakening, may be ignited because you chose not to keep the flame to yourself. When you comment, you carve your voice into the story, whether it is a single phrase, a verse, or a cry of faith. Your words become memorial stones by the river of destiny, declaring, I was here, I believed, I chose to step in. That is, and when you subscribe, you choose to remain by the well, not walking away after one drink, but planting yourself where living waters keep flowing. It is not duty, it is delight. An act of staying close to the voice that has been guiding you. So now, as this message closes, let it not be the end. Let it be the spark that carries you forward. Lift the torch, pass the flame, carve your stone, plant your roots. The crown rests upon your head, and the journey of glory continues.